The first effective drug for MS was pioneered here in Buffalo by Dr. Lawrence Jacobs. And now doctors here are doing the first scientific trial to discover whether surgery can benefit MS patients. News 4's Dr. Peter Rostro has the story.
We don't know why people get MS, but many patients have abnormal narrowing in the veins that drain blood from the brain. You can see an example here. So maybe opening those veins will help. Doctors at Millard Fillmore Gates Circle are attempting to find out.
This is the first randomized trial where patients are going to be enrolled under the rigors of a scientific study in order to determine if this procedure can be done safely.
This week, Dr. Levy and his colleagues at Gates Circle used angioplasty to open the veins of 10 patients. One of them came all the way from Virginia to participate, even though we don't know whether it will work.
So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying not to be too optimistic, you know.
Here's an example of one of the cases. This shows a very narrow vein.
It's narrowed down to 1 millimeter, 1/7 of its normal diameter.
Here you can see the balloon being blown up inside that vein to make it wider. The first 10 patients will test the safety of the procedure. If it's safe, 20 more patients will participate in a blinded study. Only half will receive the angioplasty, and it may or may not work.
And it's just an overwhelming outpouring for patient volunteers that not only want to get better themselves, but are hoping to advance the scientific field in MS and do something for patients globally.
And for someone who was 31, as I was when I was diagnosed, to not have to go through the last 20 years that I've gone through is just wonderful, you know, to be able to contribute to that. You know, it's really exciting.
Now, this is a new idea, and it's controversial, but there are some good reasons to think that narrow veins might be involved in MS. It's fitting that the first trial be done here in Buffalo because the first trial of interferon was done here. And Gates Circle has one of the best vascular neurosurgery groups in the world.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Now, it's a safe procedure, you're telling us.
Well, that's what they're trying to find out. They've just done 10 patients to see if it's safe.
But if they move on to a bigger study with more people, not everyone will get the procedure.
That's right. That's right. They'll all go to the operating room, they'll have a catheter put in, but they won't get the angioplasty. Half of them won't. And that's how we can prove that any benefit isn't just a placebo effect. That's why they call it a blind, randomized study. Mm-hmm. They won't know until a couple of years later.
Wow. MS patients are so hopeful about this, and it's very exciting that some of the clinical trials are being done here in Buffalo.
They're hopeful about this, and they're hopeful about the new pills for MS that are about to be approved by the FDA, and one of them is being tested here in Buffalo also.
Wonderful.
That is great.
Thanks so much, Doctor.